A great thing about children is that they are honest to a fault. They're sometimes too brutally honest, but they don't mean to be. Case in point, our youngest was talking with an adult recently, and he said something very common sense that all the adults in the room were thinking, and the adult to whom he said it to was like, yeah, it's a good idea. But had any of the adults said it, it would have been perceived very differently. That's the tie-in with this book. A Good Deed Can Grow. It's from New York Times bestselling creators Jennifer Chambliss-Bertman and Holly Hatam. The great thing about this book is that pre-K kids through first graders, they can smell schmaltz from a mile away. And you adults can smell schmaltz too. It's just that when you get older, like me, sometimes you just accept it and you're like, whatever, it's schmaltzy. But kids can smell it, and they oftentimes won't accept it. For example, this book is very much, it lets kids, those young kids, it gives them the opportunity to fill in the blanks, to say, oh, here's an example of a good deed, and it's growing on its own. If it were to say, hey, here's why you should do this, blah, 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 just don't tell them the joke, as Tig Notaro would say. This is a book that lets kids think upon their own, and you can tell by the very simple text. Some of the text rhymes, like most of the illustrated books that they have. Some is just simple, kind of good-natured, simple text. It's a good message. Nobody is going to have a problem with this book, and every kid in pre-K through first, and maybe even some second graders should read it. Heck, a lot of you middle schoolers who I teach or have taught, you should read it, or you should have read it. Hop in your time machine and get this when you're 5 to 7 years old. It's great. A Good Deed Can Grow.